Hello, everybody. My name is Christina, and this is Behind the Review. So, this is the first time I'm actually recording a review right after I finish a movie. And so, wow. I don't know how long this review is going to be because I'm speechless, and I'm speechless in a good way. So, the movie I just finished watching is from 2016. It is Hacksaw Ridge, and it is based on a true story. I just, wow, it was incredible. And so fair warning, if you have not seen this movie yet, I may end up giving some spoilers. So if you would like to see this movie, but you don't want any spoilers, come back and watch the review after you've seen it. I will just say I highly recommend this movie. It was so good. I really enjoyed it. So if you don't want to hear any of my spoilers, I'm just letting you know ahead of time. If you haven't seen it, go see it. So just letting you know. It's wow, it was incredible. So it is, like I said, it is based on a true story, and I really like I love movies that are based on true stories. Okay, yeah, there might be some things that are tweaked a little bit, for movies, but that's why they're based on true stories. So you're going to get a lot of things that are true, but of course there might be some things that are tweaked a little bit to, you know, words. I think you guys know what I mean. And yeah, I mean, just wow. So I am wearing as close to an army shirt as I can. It is my MASH shirt. I've got my little dog tag. And it is wow, like I really I don't worry. I'm going to talk about it. But all I can just say is wow. Like I've said like a lot too. So for those who don't mind spoilers, I'm just going to give you a little bit of synopsis here about what the movie is about. Well, what the movie is about. And it is a war film that's based on the true story of Private Desmond T. Doss, who is a combat medic who refused to carry a weapon. He saved 75 men in Okinawa without firing a shot that earned him the Medal of Honor. I mean, just that alone, hearing that story, is already absolutely incredible. What did I say? Like, incredible, amazing. So, I don't have a whole lot of notes because I was so captivated by this movie. I didn't want to blink. I didn't want to pause. I didn't want to look away. I didn't even want to, I didn't want to. But I did, just to take down the very few notes that I have. So thankfully, I'm recording this right after I finished watching the movie, so it is very fresh in my mind. So, within the first 30 minutes or so, 25 to 30 minutes, there were things in the movie or how it was being done that was giving me like vibes, like Saving Private Ryan or The Notebook or even Forrest Gump. Like, that's just, I don't know if that all of that was within the first 30 minutes or so, but it was just that feeling that I was getting. But there were also times where it was reminding me, it's giving the feels a lot of the video game Call of Duty 3, which, I mean, okay, World War II, there are going to be some similarities. And so it was like the beginning of it was the beginning of the movie where we don't exactly know where it's at, but we're assuming because it's battlefield type thing that it is taking place at Hacksaw. But just all the explosions and things, all the fighting and all that stuff was just, it reminded me a lot of the beginning of Saving Private Ryan when they were storming the beach. Now, now mind you, I have a very hard time watching that scene in Saving Private Ryan. I can't watch it. But I listen to it, and once I know they get past to a certain point, then I can watch the rest of the movie because it was a lot to watch. It was painful to watch, but it was also very gruesome. But it is also so very good at the same time, like of how well it was being filmed, that it just makes it hard to watch. Like, I can't watch it. But I'll watch like bits and pieces of it, and then sometimes I forget and I'm like, "Oh, I got to turn away or something." So basically that part was, it reminded me of that, but I was able to watch it without feeling the need to look away for some reason. Maybe because I've never seen it before, and I've seen Saving Private Ryan, that I know what's happening, that it's okay for me to look away, that I had seen it, but because this is my first time watching it, that I was captivated. I wanted to see everything that happened because I didn't want to miss anything, that I watched the whole thing. But it was pretty gruesome. I mean, it's a battle. But I didn't feel like it was as gory or gruesome as Saving Private Ryan. But so yeah, I was just getting that kind of vibe in the beginning. But then of course it does like a little bit of a flashback to give us a bit of a backstory, which I am absolutely okay with. And so kind of like the backstory of when Desmond was a kid and growing up and stuff like that, there were times like he was an adult, not exactly sure how old he would have been, but he had to have been at least 18. He could have been in his 20s. I wasn't quite processing the math in my head fast enough, where like he was like he saw this girl and he was captivated by her, wanted to go out with her, and like going out to the movies and things that were happening in the street, almost getting run over by a car. Like, that was giving me the Notebook vibes of when Noah, who's Ryan Gosling, and Rachel McAdams were in the street after they had gone out and almost getting run over by a car. So it was like certain things like that was what was giving me like the Notebook vibes, or just kind of like what reminded me of the Notebook. But then also, like later in the movie, when we actually are like on the battlefield, we're at Hacksaw Ridge, and Desmond, who's the medic, is like running to go to the wounded to see what he can do to help them. And he just kept going running back and forth and back and forth. There were times, but of course there's like crossfire and things like blowing up, that it gave me Forrest Gump vibes of when Forrest Gump, when they were in Vietnam, and he kept running through the jungle or the forest or whatever you would want to call it in Forrest Gump. He's looking for Bubba, but also he's finding other people who are wounded, and he's grabbing them and running them out. And so with Desmond doing that, it gave me the Forrest Gump vibes. And that's, I mean, so there were several movies that this movie was reminding me of, and that's fine because they're all movies that I like. And so yeah, so my I'm not going to be going in order because of just where my brain is going at the moment. But they're like, so we see him in basic training or whatever you want to call it. I felt so bad for the poor guy. Like, he has his own beliefs and he wants to stick to his beliefs, but they were giving him a hard time. Like, I just felt so bad for him. Like, they were bullying him and harassing him and stuff like that. And I get it. I understand. It's the army. It's the military. But at the same time, I'm like, he has these beliefs. And it just felt like they were picking on him for having these beliefs. And I don't know. I felt so bad. I really did. And I felt so helpless that there was nothing I could do for him. And it's a movie. But of course, as the movie goes on, like, these guys that were picking on him and giving him a hard time, they end up gaining so much respect for him, for what he was doing on the battlefield, for exactly what he did to help all of these guys. 75 guys that he saved, all by himself. And there was, I don't know, there's just like, I felt like so much was happening that I was so sucked in and watching that I wasn't sure what kind of notes to take down. Like, I would watch this movie again right now if I could. But I can't. So, but it's okay. There were times where you can tell certain things were fake, but it wasn't like horrific or anything like that. But you can tell, like, especially during like the battlefield scenes, that you could tell, like, one of those things was definitely like a mannequin or a dummy or something. You could tell that it was fake. But it wasn't like super obvious. But if you were looking in the right spot on the screen, you could tell that it was not real. Needless to say. Yeah, I mean, wow, I'm no pun intended, but I am blown away. Like, wow. Um, as far as I know, this movie has won 2 Academy Awards. Not exactly sure what they were for, but hey, I mean, it was, oh my gosh, it was incredible. Like, oh wow. Like, okay, some of those things that you could tell that were fake, that doesn't phase me. That doesn't diminish the fact that how good I thought this movie was. People might say otherwise, and that's totally fine. But me, I do enjoy a good military movie. I enjoy movies that are based on a true story. Like, I'm, wow. Man, whew, can't wait for the next movie that I watch that's based on a true story. Especially if it's a military one. Ooh, man. Wow. I I honestly don't know what else to say. I can't like I I can't pick out anything to really like critique or anything like that, just because of how captivated I was by this movie. Like, I was sucked in. Um I did recognize Vince Vaughn, and it was nice to see him in a non-comedic role. There were a couple other people that I thought I recognized or were familiar to me, but I didn't take the time to look up the names and whatever. Or there was someone who reminded me of another actor who I did look up, but it wasn't the right actor. Um, but it was, I mean, I honestly don't have anything bad to say about this movie. I really don't. Are there things that I'm a little confused about? Sure. Like, during one of the battle scenes, I don't know what soldier it was, I don't know what character it was, that they ended up like, this person had, like, was deceased, but they were missing half of their body. He picks up their body, like the top half, like their torso and their head and all that, the upper half, and he's using it as a shield. I found that, I was like, it made me go, "Oh, what? Okay, that's a little morbid and gross and disturbing." But I but at the same time, I guess you got to use what you got to use when you're in battle. It's whatever's available to you to protect yourself. And I mean, so before I keep going, just thank you to all the servicemen and women out there, wherever you are in the world. Thank you for your service. It cannot be easy. You are amazing people. Thank you. So to continue with that, I wow, I don't have any. What can I say about this? I I mean, I did have one or two jump scares, um, especially when Desmond was dreaming. He and oh, I should have written down his name. Uh, I forget, but he and another guy were overnight in a bunker or a hole. They basically had to stay down and keep quiet. And Desmond was it was his turn to sleep for 1 or 2 hours or something, but he ended up having a dream. I didn't know it was a dream at first. I thought that it was real. It was the scene. If you have seen it, it's a scene where there are, like, we see him laying down, his eyes are open, and we see like some green lighting come over his face, and we find out that it's a flare. And I was like, "Oh, this is very strange." But it was when he rolls over to peek his head up over the top of the hole, and there are enemies there, because we see him and all of a sudden you cut to the other side and you see these like 3 or 4 faces, and I jumped. I got scared. And I had the same or similar reaction to when he's in the tunnel and he's trying to hide from the enemies, because remember, he's not armed because he refuses to carry a gun, or he refuses to carry any kind of weapon. He doesn't carry a knife, he doesn't carry a rifle, like none of that. So he's trying to hide, because what's he going to protect himself with? Nothing. And so he's, hiding in different things in this little tunnel cave thing. And there are a couple times where he runs into someone who else is in there. And the first time he runs into somebody, that one didn't scare me so much. It was the second time. It was the wounded enemy soldier that scared me. But he ends up helping him. He's like, no, it's fine. I'm here. Like, I see you're wounded. But obviously he doesn't speak English. That he takes gauze or with like ace bandage. He takes something out of his bag and he helps him. Because that's what he does. He's a medic. He's going to help people. And that was the second time, and the only other time that I had a jump scare. The only other thing that confused me a little bit, like I was unsure of what was happening, was the ending, like the last shot. Was when he ended up being wounded, but that's because he kicks a grenade to save these other guys. Like I believe he like swats it away, and he sees that it's on the ground and it hasn't exploded yet, and then he ends up kicking it. But shortly after he kicks it, it goes off, and he ends up wounding his leg. And so they put him on a stretcher, but and they're at the top of the ridge, and they like hook him up to a rope or some kind of like pulley system or something. And like they kind of like slowly push it like off the ridge. And at first I was like, oh, they're going to push it and they're going to slowly lower him down to the ground where the Jeeps and the buses and trucks are and stuff. But it didn't do that. I was so very confused. And I'm not exactly sure why, but I'm going to leave it up to interpretation. I personally would have liked to seen him return home to his wife Dorothy and kind of have it end there. I mean, this wasn't a bad ending. It was just a little confusing. Like, it didn't leave me like wondering what happens next. I mean, we know that he ends up going home, and because he gets the Medal of Honor. But I think it would have, like, for me personally, like, I would have liked seeing he and his wife reunite kind of thing. Happy ending. Because she did say, you better return home to me, or something like that, or you better come home to me. And I don't remember if we see her again after that. As far as I know, I don't, from what I remember, and I just watched it like, half hour ago, 40 minutes ago, that it would have been nice to see her again, like bring that character back. Just to say, to see, I wanted to see her reaction to him actually coming home. But hey, it's still, again, it's not bad. It was just a little bit, it's different and confusing because I wasn't quite also understanding the camera angles and the shots and stuff like that. Yeah, I didn't quite understand, but that's okay. You can interpret it however you would like. I mean, wow. I mean, it's just wow. I I know there are some things that confused me, that things that may have seemed fake, but I am giving this 5 stars. 5 stars. Five medals of honor. But also just like after like the ending, we to top it all off, we see actual photos, like real photos of these real people and real life videos of some of the people that were portrayed in this movie. We see like archive footage of Desmond, photos of him and his wife and his captain, his brother, like stuff like that, and it's just incredible. Like, yeah, I mean, well done. Well done to everybody. Like, seriously. It was yeah, I don't know what else to say. 5 stars. I will totally watch this again. If you have not seen this movie and you stuck through this whole thing, thank you. Go check it out. And I don't know what else to say. I'm just going to leave it there. If you enjoyed this video, enjoyed, same thing. Remember to click the like button if you want to see more stuff like of this content. I don't know what I'm saying anymore. Remember to hit the subscribe button. If there are any movies out there that are based on a true story that you recommend, leave them in the comments down below, and I will add it to my list to watch. Thank you again for joining me, and I hope to see you all next time.